I think the biggest challenge is the challenge with the data that you have on a paper-based system, and then transforming that, moving it to a digital system. It takes a lot of time. It's something as simple as installing blinds with a remote control, and it kind of changed so much for that person, something so small, but it also then really broadened the horizons. So even though it wasn't massively technology related, it kind of made me think a lot more outside the box.
So AI and automation are becoming hot topics everywhere. From your perspective, what role will they realistically play in care over the next few years?
Identifying risks from patterns is something that I think is going to be a big part. It's going to be a lot more proactive in recognizing risks. And I feel that that's the route we are heading.
Hello everyone, my name is Abdurehman Saleemi. I am the host of TechFindsTech, and today we have Luke Rothwell with us. Thank you, Luke, for your time. So before we start, can we please start with your introduction for our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I'm Luke. I'm the managing director at CareMatch UK. Typically, we are a digital transformation specialist, and we help care providers adopt new technologies in the most best way.
Perfect. Sounds good. So, Luke, let's start with the early bit of your life. So, you became a registered manager at just 21. That's a huge responsibility at such a young age. What made you step up, and how did that shape the way you see care today?
Yeah, I was very young, very naive, very eager. I had great mentors at the time. I worked for a great company. So I was very, very fortunate at the time that, the opportunity presented itself, and I was ready to kind of take that step into kind of registered management.
So, is it like you give the credit to mentors, or is it like you got the training from early in your life?
Yeah, I think I had exposure to social care at a really young age. My family all worked in social care. As a younger child, I would go to care homes, and I would have exposure to the people that were living there. So I always had experiences of that from a really, really young age. And then when I started to actually work in social care, while I was studying at college, yeah, I just fell in love with the industry, and I kind of dedicated all of my spare time to learning, having great mentors around me at the same time. It was a double whammy, hard work and having the opportunities and the right mentors around at the time.
Yep, that makes understandable. You have always had a mix of care and technology in your journey. Was there a moment when you realized tech could truly change the way care is delivered?
I remember one moment that stands out for me, and it might not be massively technical really to the audience, but to me at the time, it was a really profound moment. It kind of broadened my horizons about how tech could support social care. I remember taking care of a person who was in the care home at the time, and in the mornings they used to want to open the blinds, but they found that really difficult because of mobility issues, and it was really quite agitating to them that they couldn't do this independently. It was something as simple as installing blinds with a remote control, and it kind of changed so much for that person, something so small, but it also then really broadened the horizons. So even though it wasn't massively technology related, it kind of made me think a lot more outside the box around how different aids and different technology could support people living in care.
So, the part of industry you belong to, it also has an emotional effect. So, do you feel like you're emotionally connected to the sector of the industry you're in as well?
Oh yeah, I love it deeply. I've dedicated my whole adult life to it. It's so important. The ability to help people with their everyday life is, in my eyes, a huge honor, and something I didn't take lightly personally. So yeah, I'm hugely emotionally connected to the industry, and to the profession of social care as well. I'm hugely connected to that.
Yeah, and just to attach it, is it something that you are doing today? Is it something that you always wanted to do? Is it like, are you really enjoying and passionate about the things that you are achieving and that you are delivering today?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think when you're a younger child, you have these all sorts of dreams and aspirations about perhaps be in sports or, flying to the moon, perhaps. And, mine wasn't social care as a child, of course not. That wasn't kind of on my radar as a dream, or an aspiration. But, I fell into that. Uh, Interestingly, before working in social care, I was studying web design. So I'd kind of feel like both of those skills are what I am doing now. I'm incorporating both of those key interests and skills that I've gathered over the years.
All right, that's good. That's really good to hear that you are really doing what you really love, because I think so over the period of time, if you're doing something that you're not passionate about, eventually you will lose hope and inspiration and the motivation. It it is something that will not going to give you a mental peace and happiness in the longer run. Do you agree?
Yeah. I think fulfillment's the one, right? Fulfillment's the
Yeah,
kind of key word I would take from that. Yeah.
perfect. Okay, so when you started the CareMatch UK, what was the big problem you wanted to solve, and what kept you motivated to go after it?
I think the big problem was probably the digital maturity of the sector, and the stereotypes that us as care providers had at the time about adopting technologies. The main problem we wanted to solve was making digital adoption easier, whether that be through the infrastructure or the care provider, or just the physical adoption of new technologies, and making that as barrier free as possible. That was the whole ethos, the whole plan, of what was set out at the beginning.
I think so. You picked up the right problem, because I think so. The healthcare, they are very much by the book people. They follow certain set of rules. They stay between those boundaries, and they try to achieve certain things between the boundaries. How did you manage to actually convince them on the technology part, and how did you actually implement this technology thing in the healthcare sector?
Yeah, really important. I think, knowing then, we spoke about, that I'd started really young in working in social care. So when talking with care providers, I obviously understood the day-to-day challenges that they were experiencing, whether that be, staffing or compliance or funding. I understood all of those things. It was something that I did day in, day out in my job as a registered manager. And so I come from a place of knowing the challenges that they were facing, which then made it a lot easier to talk about technology and adopting it, and how I adopted it, as a care provider.
That's good to hear. So many providers are still transitioning from paper-based system to digital. What are the biggest challenges you have seen in that process, and what helps teams actually adopt new tools?
Yeah, I think, obviously we're a lot further along now than when we were a few years ago, in terms of the percentages and the amount of care providers that are left using paper-based systems. There's not that many now. I think the biggest challenge is the challenge with the data that you have on a paper-based system, and then transforming that, moving it to a digital system. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of skills. And yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge that we've seen with our clients over the years.
So digital transformation is like you moved your client from paper to actually using digital systems. What do you think, or how much percentage do you think the UI user interface played the part? Do you think that designing interfaces that they really understand and that they were using in previously in their lives was important, and you guys actually took care of that?
Yeah, so, our role in that was not so much the design of the systems. This was the, technology providers themselves would be responsible for the design. So that wouldn't necessarily fall to us. But how much you're asking me, how much do I think that played a part, for care providers? It was a massive part. When technology is a new, topic that you're discussing, the design and the usability and how easy it is to use those systems was and is really, really important to care providers.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense, because I think so. You are not only in the healthcare; they are like the core part of every sector and every industry, because that is the first entry point of any digital tool that we use today.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so let's talk about compliance and quality. So compliance is essential in care, but often feels like a burden. How do you see technology making compliance something that actually improves the quality of care for residents and staff?
Yeah, well, actually, funnily, we're asked this question quite a lot. Is that what difference is it using a paper-based system to using technology to record your findings, especially around compliance and quality, for example? I think the major difference is that you have it all in one place. You're able to maintain oversight of your service and the quality of it in one singular place from your desktop, perhaps. Whereas before, many people who might be watching this podcast will remember how it was when you were paper-based auditing, for example, or paper-based care planning. To perform audits or to perform quality checks took a long time. It was logistically quite a challenge, to do that. So yeah, I think now it gives you just a much broader oversight and control over the quality and governance within your care services.
And if you would like explain just maybe one quick way of ensuring quality and compliance in healthcare, is any kind of a certain bar that you establish for yourself to check the compliance and quality, or is it like just a one way step by step process to do that?
Well, in the UK, we don't really have, kind of standardized ways of working. So care providers will audit their quality and governance very differently, while using the CQC regulations to guide them on that. But there's no set way of doing it. What we would say there is every tool that you're using is also different in the way that you might quality audit, for example. But you're just following the same principles of that you're looking for shortfalls in the care that you're providing and then finding a way to fix those and perhaps prevent reoccurrences of those issues coming back.
Yep, that makes sense. Let's talk about the future of tech in care. So AI and automation are becoming hot topics everywhere. From your perspective, what role will they realistically play in care over the next few years?
Yeah, that's a $1 million question, isn't it? We're hearing a lot about AI and lots of tools that are social care focused that have been created, and there are some really amazing technology out there already. So it's really exciting then to think about what's to come later down the line. But I think identifying risks from patterns is something that I think is going to be a big part. It's going to be a lot more proactive in recognizing risks, and I feel that that's the route we are heading with AI, which is only going to benefit. Very similar to what we spoke about earlier about how technology can benefit. We have to use AI in the same way, not as a replacement, but as a way to support the delivery of social care.
And if we talk about like the human force numbers, do you think it will get impacted or will they reduce in upcoming months because of AI if we talk about the healthcare sector?
I think when you think about the healthcare sector, I don't think that that's something that AI will be able to replace. The social care workforce. You're not going to be able to replace that. Are you going to be able to provide support to it using AI? Yeah, of course you are. But the physical delivery of care can't really be replaced because of that human factor that you mentioned, Saleemi. Yeah.
Got you. Okay. I think so. That's it from this segment. So look, we are moving to the next segment. It is a rapid fire questions, and the only rule here is you cannot think about the answers. As soon as I stop speaking the question, you need to answer those questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure. Go.
Okay. So one piece of advice you would give your 21-year-old self just starting out as a registered manager.
I think I would probably say something like, don't think always in black and white and think a little bit more gray. I think I would have told myself that.
What's one tech tool you can't imagine working without today?
My diary.
Got it. If you had to pick one people or processes, which one drives better care?
Always people.
Biggest lesson you have learned about leading a startup team?
Flexibility, being as flexible in your approach as possible. Flexibility.
One thing you wish more people understood about the care sector?
That it's a profession. I would love for people to know more, respect that more and understand that more.
If you could fast forward 10 years, what's one innovation you would hope to see in every care home?
Was that one innovation I would like to see? Is that what you asked?
Yeah.
I would like to see more proactive, preventative technology.
All right, Luke. I think so. That's it. And thank you for sharing your wonderful insights with our audience. And I hope everybody who's watching this podcast would be able to get more insights about this care sector from our very wonderful guest, Luke. Until then, keep focused, stay building, and keep finding tech that finds you. Thank you, everyone.